Welcome back. I'm Rick Sanchez. The decision is in. The judge has decided that same-sex marriage in California will resume as of next Wednesday. Not today, but next Wednesday. That's the ruling of a judge in California, and we are getting a lot of reaction on this ruling as we move forward here on Rick's List. First of all, to the Attorney General, Jerry Brown. Here we go. A step in the right direction. He tweets, equality, quote, is the soul of liberty. There is, in fact, no liberty without it. In quotations, he's quoting Frances Wright. That, of course, is Jerry Brown with this tweet that just came in 3 minutes ago. Dan Simon is standing by now there in Los Angeles, where a lot of folks, I imagine, are celebrating over the judge's decision. Dan?
Mainly celebration, Rick. We are here at City Hall in San Francisco, about a block away from the courthouse where the ruling just came down. Have two people here with me, as you can see. This is Jennifer right here and Victor on the other side, and they have opposite positions on this issue, same-sex marriage. We're going to start here with Jennifer. You moved to California a year ago from Georgia.
I moved from D.C. actually.
From D.C. And you have a partner. You're not ready to get married. Just briefly explain to me your reaction when the ruling came down.
I think it's great. I think it's great we're moving forward on this, and I think it's unfortunate that there is the stay till August 18th, that every time we are in the mode to celebrate and poised to get married, you know, there's always a slight setback, a slight bit of bitterness in that. But I think the ruling's great, and I think it's great that we're talking about this and engaging on this issue. Proposition
8, November 2008 is when this went into effect. 52% of Californians said there should be no same-sex marriage. Now, it's a lot of people. 7 million people cast their ballot. Why are they wrong?
Well, they're wrong because, you know, as a lot of people have said, it's not the type of issue that should be voted on in the first place. I think it's very sad that there are 52% of Californians, and maybe more than that across this country, have those views. But I also think it has no bearing on whether or not I, or, you know, other gay people, or anyone for that matter, should be able to get married. I think that it's, as the judge ruled, irrelevant in large part because, you know, it's not the type of issue that should be put to a vote.
All right, Jennifer, thanks very much.
Thanks.
That's Jennifer's point of view. Let's now talk to Victor. As you can see here, he's wearing a Yes on 8 sign, also holding up a rather large sign here, California, where votes don't count. That's what he's holding up. Victor, why are you so passionate about this issue?
First, I want to show the back. This is the number one reason.
Judge mocks God is what his sign says.
What's really at stake here is the God's law is trampled under feet by this person who is not even elected, by the people of California, and I think this is scary, given my background from former Soviet country, Ukraine, because I thought America is a free country ruled by the people.
Well, but here you have a judge who looked at evidence on both sides. He determined that Prop 8 violates the Constitution, that, among some of the things he said, heterosexual couples, gay couples can be just as good at parents as heterosexual couples. I mean, how do you square those arguments?
All these arguments don't matter in face of God's holy standard. God said it, decreed it from the very beginning that a man and a woman coming together is marriage. And in face of God, there's no people arguments that can be made against that.
And thank you very much, Victor. And what he is saying, Rick, is really what you hear from Prop 8 supporters everywhere you go. That they look at this as a religious issue. That from their point of view, the Bible does not condone same-sex marriage. And when you talk to them, they say, look, 52% of the people in California voted for Prop 8, that in this particular instance, popular vote should rule, but obviously the judge has another opinion on that. And we'll be standing by, bringing you some other voices. But again, this is the scene here at City Hall, where a lot of people were hoping to actually get married this afternoon. They were lining up inside trying to get a marriage license. Now they are told that they won't be able to do so until August 18th it is. And so we'll be back here on the 18th and watching this all unfold. But in the meantime, a significant victory for same-sex marriage supporters. Rick?
Hey, thanks so much, Dan. We appreciate that. Let's talk now about this thing moving forward, because you start to look at some of these rulings to see if there's any indication of what's going to happen next. We've all talked about this thing possibly ending up in the Supreme Court. Jeffrey Toobin is standing by now. He's going to bring us up to date on his sense of this, of what this ruling means. Now, one of our colleagues, a friend of mine and yours, David Vigilante, and I just was on the phone with him, and he's been sending me some emails, and he directed me to some interesting information. He says, it looks to me the judge seems to be saying that one reason for denying the stay is that he doubts they will even have a standing to appeal unless the government of California appeals. So I got David on the phone, Tubes, and I asked him, well, tell me where, because I haven't had a chance to read the entire ruling yet, because we've been involved in all these conversations. So let me read to you from page 5. You cool with that? It says, proponent's intervention, this is the judge, proponent's intervention in the district court does not provide them with standing to appeal. And then he goes on to list some cases, which gets a little too boring for our viewers. So I'll skip to the bottom where he finishes by saying this. The Supreme Court has expressed grave doubts whether initiative proponents have independent Article III standing to defend the constitutionality of the initiative. And then he states a case, Arizonans for official English, 520 U.S. at 67. Is David right? Is that what he's saying there, that he doesn't think that this thing can be appealed further down from a federal standpoint?
Well, I think the interesting point that David is addressing here is the peculiar situation of the politics in California. When you sue to have when a plaintiff sues to have an act of the government of California overturned, the defendant is the governor or the attorney general. But the governor here, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the attorney general here, Jerry Brown, are on the plaintiff's side. They're saying, we agree with you. We think Prop 8 is unconstitutional. So you have a situation here where the plaintiff and the defendant agree. And the only people who disagree, the only people who say that Prop 8 is constitutional are what's called the interveners, this group that were the advocates who supported Proposition 8. So the legal situation is a little bit unusual procedurally in that respect. Frankly, in one respect, I disagree with David in that courts usually get around these procedural barriers. They figure out a way to reach the merits of cases. I think the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is going to say Prop 8 is constitutional or unconstitutional. I doubt the case will go off on the standing issue and say that, well, you know, they don't even have the right to bring the case, so we're not going to reach the issue of whether it's constitutional. But certainly that was a factor that Judge Walker today cited in his decision not to grant a stay, that maybe procedurally this case can't go forward in any further.
Well, that's interesting, and one of the reasons I raise that, of course, is you and I have been covering this story now for the better part of a couple of weeks, and I remember we had conversations with people on the right who are convinced, I mean, they would swear this thing is headed right to the Supreme Court, and they're confident they're going to win this thing. The thing you say is that's not a certainty.
It's not a certainty, but we're not even there yet because the Ninth Circuit has to get involved first. And you know, the Ninth Circuit is a funny court. It has the reputation of being the most liberal of the circuit courts of appeals, and there's some truth in that. But there are also some very conservative judges, and through the luck of the draw, there are 3 judges picked for every case. And depending on which 3 judges you get, you never know what the panel is going to look like. So we will know a lot about how the Ninth Circuit decision will come out once we know the identity of the 3 judges who are going to get it. And we should know that probably in the next day or 2.
Thanks so much for clearing that up. Jeff Toobin following that the story for us and giving us his insight on exactly where this thing might be headed.